So it is T-minus 3 hours before the Tenerife video goes live. My longest video, possibly even my biggest vlog that I've done. I wanted to take today to show you guys the behind the scenes background of what the editing process was like. So as you guys would have known that I said on a TikTok that I spent every day a week for 6-7 hours straight putting this piece together, and I want to show you guys the whole timeline itself, everything that I went through, everything that was in my mind, and just talk about the whole day in general from my point of view, as well as just everything else that I feel like needs to be said. So we have the main business here. This is absolutely every editor's dream come true. Yeah, it's a lot to cover. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to cover, but I'm just going to get through as much as possible. First things first, we had all the files. I made a separate file called the Tenerife as per usual, and because I was recording on my GoPro, my phone and the main camera, I had a shit ton of footage. If I go into my main footage, which is from the camera that I'm using to record, you can see all this stuff we have here. It's over 100 pieces of footage put together, and it's fucking hectic. And if I also show you that this, I had to put it on a separate file of all the footage from my phone. So I ended up having to spend, I think it was a Saturday day after we came back, organizing all of these files together. So we have this day one, and we just go back and forth, you know. Yeah, you get the gist. I had to reorder every single piece of footage from my phone, and the GoPro footage we had, you know, I just chucked it into the mix, although this was a little bit hard to do because I ended up not using as much GoPro footage as I thought. This brings us into the main timeline. So first things first that came up was obviously chucking everything into a different folder. The footage of the main camera, the one I'm recording on now, we have all this bit of footage that I have here, and I have to organize this throughout what day I had recorded. Very, very hard to go through every single piece of footage and watch it back, because that's what you as an editor and a filmmaker have to do. Doesn't matter how much pieces of footage you have, once you get back, you have to watch back everything. The footage from the GoPro, I ended up not using that much footage from the GoPro. All the phone footage, you know, from day 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Got all that done, and then any little voiceovers, these were from Soundly, the edit software that I have, which is right down here, which I also use in college. When it came to making it, I had to firstly make a trailer. If I go over here and go on the trailer, this is going to be stuck on the 16:9 ratio, since when I was putting the trailer together, I put it in 9:16 ratio. A lot of you guys will have seen the video regardless, and yeah, sometimes some of the pieces ended up going a bit all over the place into the main timeline. So as we have here, as per every single YouTube video on the planet needs, is a hook. First 15 to 20 seconds, maybe even the first minute, depending on the length of your video, you need to have the best hook you can get. I basically just took the trailer and just made sure that every bit of footage had been reordered and rescaled into the 16:9 ratio. And I also decided to change the song, since the song I had in the original post was copyrighted, so I wouldn't have been able to use that on YouTube. We get through it, with the lads, you know, I don't need to skim through it as a lot of you guys have already watched this. We obviously start off with the airport, we have all the pieces, but one main thing that I will point out, the colouring layers. One thing that I kept in mind was that all of my music, as you will see, any little blue clips is my music, any purple stuff is my text layers, any orange is my B-roll, and any green stuff is my main camera, or the bit that you're seeing on camera with that bit of audio. The yellow, which was little voiceovers at the start of the trailer, which I did not end up using at all. And a little red is any sound effects, which is hugely important. And then every now and then you have some of these purple highlights, which were voiceovers that I just did in the software. That was one big thing that I made sure to keep ordered, but although everything is a bit all over the place, as you can see, like there are certain bits here like just scattered around. I'm still not that good at organizing like where to put certain files, but that is why you have these audio pieces over here to label all your stuff. But I'm just a bit lazy, and I just end up chucking it in because that's just my edit fashion. We go through each day, and I make sure to have each text saying like when it was, and then even the time specifically, because obviously anything that you would see here was probably recorded on my phone, so I knew exactly what time that video was recorded. We see little bits here, just nice text, and yeah, just get a bit fancy with what you do. I wanted to start with a nice quick intro just to show you guys. We kind of go a bit like low basic, like for example here when me, Peter and Dara are walking and me and Peter do the race like around the 16-minute mark. It's at this point where I know that like I know this is going to be a very long video, and so I want to take a little breather. I don't want to do a Mr. Beast style video where every 2 seconds you're cutting and it's fucking intense. Like, I'm not that kind of person. I want to have moments where we speed through it like we do with certain pieces. So anytime we're walking or traveling, have a bit of music, a bit of overlay, because that is the rhythm of my videos. So you guys will start to pick up that these are little rhythms that I have. I have little stops when I take a break to address the camera just about the day, because if I'm doing that, that means the other lads just can't really be asked to be on camera. We kind of move along a little bit, a lot of B-roll here, and so one thing I really liked was this little montage that I did after we kind of left, and we come up to another bit here. We have these moments of just us hanging around, and then so yeah, like that is just a nice little transition. So I think one thing I'm definitely doing better, I'm definitely getting better at the transitions. What's so good about changing music is having these little risers, and all these risers are coming from Soundly. I use this to transition into every song. And another thing that you will have seen that every YouTuber does on the planet, cutting on the beat. You don't just do it randomly, but I can show you here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It might not look very smooth, but as you can see, every time it did a little ding, that's my cue to change scene. This karaoke bit, yeah, this karaoke bit was very, very funny. I think this is the one with Peter's voice crack, I'm assuming. Yeah, it is. So we have 2 layers here, as everyone knows, because it's recorded on phone and horizontal. I don't want to squeeze the whole thing because you're not going to see everything. So I had to duplicate the layer, chuck it on top, and then just blur the back bit after scaling it up. We're going to get into another bit because I know what's about to happen next, but because you lot don't know, I decided we'll take a deep breath, because we've been pacing it around a bit like here for the last like minute or two, and so we give it a break with me just vlogging this night alone. It was just one of the funniest moments, I think, of the entire video, with Peter being drunk. Well, Peter was drunk at this stage, he cannot fucking deny that. He started singing, and then next thing you know, we're putting our cousin's bikini on him for some weird fucking reason. All these moments with Cyan Park, we wanted to make sure that every single bit was good, and even with when we had those girls with us, you know, which was also just a fun night as well. To then going into, I believe, the fishing. So we have the fishing here, but this piece I just want to go over very quick, because this is one of my favorite pieces to edit. Basically, as you can see, so if you see all these little markers, basically what I did was simply just do a good old-fashioned right click and go to beat detection. What it does is that it goes through all the beats, and it makes it easier to edit pieces together so that it doesn't look like an awkward cut. You then go into the fishing the next day. I was just chilling out, us having a laugh really whenever I was on the camera. Nice bits of b-roll, which I feel like I record a lot more on this fish day than I realised. To pick the pace up a little bit, I have a little riser. So as a reminder, all the little hot red clips are sound effects. Anything else in the blue is the music. I use that to know when the cue is for each song. And so you look at this and it's like, you'd rather know what each clip is, because if you have every single piece of these yellow, you won't know which one is what. By having the voiceover as marked purple and then all the music labeled as blue and the sound effects as red, made it 10 times easier for me to know what was what on the timeline. So we just have these little bits of music, and then any little bits of us hanging around with the girls, any little moment. And then obviously we had the little long takes of us going down the slide, because I didn't see a need to be cutting whilst we're going down the slide. I'm like, might as well go through the entire experience. Near the end, And you know, everything's normal. As you can see, we still know the stuff. Again, remember, anything labeled orange is the B-roll, meaning it's on screen, but I'm not going to talk about it. And then we cut back to me the next day chatting. So then you have all these little bits of B-roll that are only there for like a couple of seconds. But the thing is, realistically, on the day of recording these, that is recording for about 4 or 5 minutes of us just chilling in the pool, and that's it. A little talking head right here. One thing I really wanted to make sure though when it came to the little talking head segments was that they weren't too long. If they were just a little bit too long, then it will easily just make the viewer be like, okay, I'm not interested anymore. So I wanted to keep the talking heads nice, short and simple, despite the fact that a few of them I kept a few minutes long. Then we have the big night where we have this big montage of all of us with those girls in the nightclubs, and then it all just cuts off. Yeah, so as we can see here, yeah, so it starts to fade out, but because it's like we stayed out until 7 in the morning, like we legit did, it was a long night. This was one of the last things I was recorded. I can't exactly remember the order. I think like I just started just randomly just putting in whatever. Then we kind of go into the ending, since we're about a minute or two from the ending here. As we see, we're keeping pace with it because we've been shotting. Peter's found the key and it's like, okay, pick it up a little bit. So that's when the music comes in, the voiceover comes in. But then, because I want this to be a nice little goodbye, because to say thank you to those people who have been watching the video, because it's over 15 minutes long, it's like, here, this is a thank you to you guys for watching this far along. That's why I might sound a slight little bit depressing. So these were not the original tracks that I had in mind, because when I was uploading it onto YouTube and just wanted to get it unlisted so I could see what was copyrighted, those 2 songs came up as copyrighted, so I had to change them out for these 2 songs. Yeah, I had a nice little emotional goodbye basically.
Back to the apartment after hours of being away.
Well, basically, I wanted this bit to kind of be a bit of an emotional goodbye, and all, which is why I kind of wanted to have a little bit of a sad music, because like, we've been here 15 minutes, we've all been here, we've all witnessed the end of this, and yeah, it's going to be a bit of an emotional goodbye, because we've been here for 2 weeks, it felt like long, it felt like it went quick at times, kind of pace it in to just doing all of this stuff, just leaving the apartments. The main part with the credits, one thing I know I kind of fucked up on was when I had the like titles for everyone, it was the exact same font, but being a film student, that would have been very fucking triggering for a few people. So if there's anything else maybe that I can go through, as you can see, it's a bit of chaos going on in the timeline. Although if I just back out here, it's all chaos. I said to the guys that this is going to be a very long video. Some of them thought it would be a 15 to 20 minute video, but I had to give them a reality check and be like, lads, it's a 2-week holiday. I was filming basically every day. We were doing shit most days. It's not going to be a 15-20 minute video. Yeah, this is like my whole creative mindset was that I wanted it to make sure everything was organized. I wanted it to have a good, nice hook, have a few relaxing bits of us just having a laugh, and then kind of steer it up a bit, get a bit intense because with some of the music and all of that, because I love messing around with the music. Sometimes every single song, you need to just get the perfect song, because I have God knows how many different songs here. This is just absolute art to me right now. Maybe some bits could have been extended a slight bit more, like some of the texts could have been extended a little bit more. I could put out another video of some unreleased footage that we had, or some unreleased footage that basically I haven't put out yet that you guys don't know. This whole holiday in general was an absolute blast to go on with the lads. T-minus 2 hours now before the video goes live, and I am very fucking hyped for this video, because it's such a big passion project, because every video I make that's to do with vlogging is such a big passion project. I hope the video does well, and I hope it just gets a good response. Subscribe for more videos, and let me know if you want to see more behind the scenes of how I make my videos. So I shall see you guys in the next video. Peace.